Hello everyone and welcome to the Los Santos Grand Prix lower loop. So it's been a while since I've made a new track and presented a new track to you guys, and now I've got one here. So the description for the lower loop is as follows. The lower loop of the Los Santos Grand Prix circuit contains only the southern portion of the track. Also incorporating the drag strip, this variation is characterised by two very long straights with a twisty slow speed section between them. Focus on those corner exits for maximum speed. So basically this is the lower loop, and it's the final variation of the Los Santos Grand Prix circuit. Now we've had the inner loop, which was verified, of course, the outer loop, the drag strip, then the upper loop, and now we've got the lower loop. So that's pretty much, 5 different variations of the Los Santos Grand Prix circuit, and then obviously the main one as well. So it starts just like the normal Grand Prix circuit, and it does turn left there just like the lower loop, the upper loop does. But whereas the upper loop goes through the tunnel, the lower loop just goes straight past and straight down here, and you very quickly come on to the second part of the main Grand Prix circuit and the second part of that lap. So you turn right here just as the main Grand Prix circuit does, underneath the newspaper offices, and then you do the same right turn that you do in the Grand Prix circuit here as well. And this is basically all the southern section of the track. It's very thin, very skinny track, this one, 2 very long straight, and then this slow speed section in between. So on the main Grand Prix circuit, you would come around to this section and you would turn left where checkpoint 10 is and go back up the main straight. But on the lower loop, you actually turn right and you go back the wrong way down this little section here. By the end of it, there is a little bit of a hairpin, and then you go basically back up the way you came, and you incorporate the full length of the drag strip as well for the main straight. So it's a very long main straight, but it is the complete drag strip incorporated into this track. As you can see there is also a barrier there which stops people going on the pavement, and it also serves to not allow that lamppost to get knocked over. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So yeah, you go up the hairpin and then you come back along the main straight, and this is a much longer main straight than the normal Grand Prix circuit because it does incorporate the full drag strip as well. It is a 16-player race, and I've actually made all of the loops and the drag strip all 16 players as well. So all of my races are now 16 players. I would still probably recommend that the smaller loops are designed for less players, but if you want to have 16 players go around there, and we'll probably, in the crew, we can probably get 16 people around there because, we aren't going to go mental and hit everybody off and things like that. That should be possible for you. So I've decided to make it available for 16 players, and all of the other loops are also available for 16 players, just because it should be up to you whether you want to do that or not. So what was the motivation really for creating this lower loop? Well, for those of you who don't know and you need to catch up, I created the Los Santos Grand Prix circuit. That was the first one, the main one that I created. That's still to this day, my most successful track and the one that most people play and know about. But then, not too long after that, I created the inner loop, which was all the inner parts of the track, the tighter, twistier sections. I also created the outer loop, which was all the outer parts of the track, which was a lot more fast and a lot more flowing. And I created the drag strip, which was basically the main straight of the Grand Prix circuit, and this little extra bit as well, just to make it a bit longer. So I'd already done that, and obviously it was the inner loop that got verified by Rockstar, for those of you who don't know that already. The inner loop was verified by Rockstar, and then after that I created the upper loop as well. So when I made a change to the Grand Prix circuit, the main Grand Prix circuit, I added the chicane section. I created the upper loop to go along with that. And when I made that, I kind of thought that I would end up creating a lower loop as well, just to finish off the set. I've never got around to doing it really, but I was kind of hoping that we would see some more checkpoints and more props available for the creator before next gen. But since we aren't going to get those, I've decided to create the lower loop now. And the reason for that is that the added section of the drag strip is something that I would quite like to include on the main Grand Prix circuit as an added change. So on the main Grand Prix circuit, if we get more checkpoints, more props, I would add this section in. And this section is quite a nice section, I think, because it does include the drag strip. It makes the drag strip more important, more relevant. And you can also see the cars at different parts of the track. Obviously, people are going down there as you're coming up and vice versa. It's a nice little section in that regard as well. And that's generally what the Grand Prix circuit has always been about. So on that front, I'd like to get your opinions. You know, would you like to see that kind of that section added onto the main Grand Prix circuit? It probably wouldn't happen for this generation because, you know, we're probably not going to get any more checkpoints. But if next generation comes along and we do get some more checkpoints, I'll definitely be considering putting that into the main circuit, and then the lower loop really will be the lower half of the track. And also, if you are completely unaware of all of this and the fact that I've even made tracks, you can click the link down below to take you to the content creator playlist, or you can just find it on my channel, and there's basically a video for every one of the tracks that I've created, and the loops that I've created as well, and the different variations, just like I've done with this. So yeah, if you are at all confused or you want to check out my tracks, there is a complete playlist and a video for each one, so definitely go check those out if you haven't already. So yeah, this is the lower loop, and the lower loop is I quite like it. You know, it's there's not a lot to it, I would guess you could say, because it is pretty much two very long straights and a little bit of a left right twisty section, but it completes the whole collection nicely, really. You know, it was always the Grand Prix circuit was always missing a lower loop, really, because we had an upper loop. It needed a counterpart to it. We had the inner loop and the outer loop. They were counterparts to each other. We needed a lower loop to be a counterpart to the upper loop, and I'm getting totally confused by saying all these loops now. There's too many for me to keep track of. So yeah, basically there's the main Grand Prix circuit, and then there's 5 different variations. You know, you've got the drag strip, the inner loop and the outer loop, the upper loop and the lower loop, and that is the entirety of the Grand Prix, the Los Santos Grand Prix circuit. And there is a playlist to go along with that as well. That will be linked down in the description. I've created a brand new playlist that contains all 6 of the tracks in there. It's called the Los Santos GP Collection, and you can add that playlist to your game and play through all of the various tracks. But that's not all, because I obviously also, my other main track, I guess you could say, is the North Loop. Now the North Loop is a really big track, really interesting. I really like this one. And now I've decided to create 2 variations of it. Here we've got the North Loop East, which is the eastern half of the track. And we've also, obviously, the North Loop West, which is the western half of the track. There's no point in really showing you a video of those, because they are pretty much exactly the same as the main North Loop. So all the checkpoints are in exactly the same place. Obviously the North Loop is characterized by the fact that it does come back on itself and use the same stretch of road twice. So it is very easy to just split it up into 2 halves, and that's what I've done there. But I've also left all the props from the main North Loop in the same places as well. So if you were to go off on the wrong part of the track, say for example on the eastern half, all the props from the western half would still be there as well. Now there's not a lot of need for that, but I just thought it was a nice little touch, just to, you know, show that it is really, you know, just one half of the main North Loop circuit. So yeah, that's 3 different tracks that you've got from this video. Again, everything will be linked in the description. There is quite a long description to this video because there is a lot to get in there. But yeah, everything is going to be linked in there. There's also a playlist for the North Loop to have the main circuit, the eastern half and the western half if you want to play all 3 at once. And obviously I created the eastern half and the western half again just to sort of complete that collection. Some people had wanted it, and it also allows you to practice a certain section of the circuit without doing the rest of it as well. You know, if you're better on the western half and you just want to practice the eastern half, you can just load up that part of the track instead of doing the whole thing. So yeah, we're pretty much caught up quite nicely on all of the tracks that have been created. So I've basically created 12 tracks now. 6 of them are Los Santos Grand Prix and its variations. 3 of them are the North Loop and its variations. And 3 of them are sort of random tracks that I created before I started doing these main ones. So there are going to be 4 more tracks before next gen hits, and you'll see those soon. They will be in a video. One of them is Cutting Coroner's GP, but I'll be releasing a few more alongside that as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the tracks that I'm going to have created for this generation of games. Obviously all of my tracks are available on PS3 and 360. All of the links are down below in the description. And basically, you know, this is kind of the maximum that I can really do on this generation. You know, I'm really hoping that we get some more checkpoints and more props for next gen, and that will allow me to obviously make the change that I want to make to the Grand Prix circuit, and make a few other tracks as well that I have in mind. But for the moment, you know, we're kind of finishing up on this generation when it comes to track building. I didn't think I would make any more tracks, to be honest, when I made the upper loop, when I made the north loop, in fact. But, you know, certain things happen and you feel like making a track every now and again. I really do enjoy making tracks, but we do need something a little bit extra now. Some more checkpoints and more props. Obviously, I would like to see this section of the lower loop be on the main Grand Prix circuit as well. And I just feel a bit restricted on this generation of consoles at the moment when it comes to track making. So we'll see what next gen brings and whether I make any more tracks. Obviously, I will recreate all of the tracks that I've made on next gen as well, and by next gen I mean PS4. And really, it's just a case of seeing what Rockstar bring to the table with next gen content created to see if there's anything extra worth talking about. So, as I said, you know, if you weren't even aware that I created tracks, you've only played one of them or two of them or something like that, and you haven't tried any of the others, have a look in the description. There's a lot of information in there. Lots of links to various different videos showing my other tracks. Lots of links to the playlists for both Xbox 360 and PS3 and the tracks themselves. Everything is in the description, so have a look in there, and everything's in there, so you don't need to look at anything else. So yeah, that's basically it for this one. Let me know your opinions on whether you'd like to see this section of the lower loop, the extra section incorporating the drag strip, in the main Grand Prix circuit. I want to know your feedback on that down below. Give the lower loop a try and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate your support as always, and I'll see you next time.